Hello and welcome back to the Gibson War Room. It's June 1944. We're back in Normandy. It's the start of Operation Cheltenham, and 37th Infantry Brigade, supported by armour, are tasked with the capture of St Martin Norre. As always, just like to start by saying just a big thank you to everyone who subscribed and commented on my previous videos. It's very much appreciated. I'm sorry for the delays in replying and the sporadic battle reports, far fewer than I'd hoped. But life always seems to somehow get in the way of playing with toy soldiers. Mine does anyway. Okay, we're using version 2 of the bolt action rules, and this will probably be the last video using this set, as obviously version 3 comes out later this September. I've read some of the new rules updates and seen some videos detailing what's new, and there is a fair bit of excitement from the community around this. For now, though, I'm quite happy to just wait until I've actually got the book in my hands and then assess myself how the changes obviously are going to impact on how we play the game, for better or for worse. But for this battle, it's a last huzzah to version 2, for now anyway. Okay, this scenario is fictitious, but based loosely around the actions fought during the real Operations Martlet and Epsom during late June 1944. During these real actions, the British infantry and tanks advanced and fought their way through a string of heavily defended small French villages trying to flank the city of Caen. Christop, Fontenay, St Manvou, Chaux and Granville, to name but a few. And what I've tried to do here is obviously recreate those little small villages with this setup. Now, these villages were made up of very well-built brick buildings. Having been to Normandy a few times, I can attest to that. They are extremely thick, well-made old stone buildings. They were sometimes surrounded by obviously lots of farmers' fields, sometimes with corn 4 to 5 feet high. There were narrow, heavily wooded lanes, or sometimes there was no cover at all on the approaches. Often little woods dotted about, and the defenders often had clear lines of sight of any approaching attack, a terrifying ordeal for any attacker. British 30 Corps and 8 Corps butted heads with the Germans' 1st and 2nd SS Panzer Corps, with infantry casualties rates coming close to those of World War I. Now, these battles were ferocious, very costly, with both sides effectively punching each other out during the 6 days or so of continuous action. And again, this scenario and this board is trying to recreate a little bit of that confusion as units come in and are thrown into the fray. Okay, so all the British forces are regular. They're made up of 2 battalions consisting of 4 rifle companies and supports. I upscale in my game, so a section is a company, a single vehicle, a platoon, and 3 tanks, a squadron, etc. The Duke of Gipton Regiment are all Warlord plastic. All the Sherman vehicles are Rubicon with Warlord crew, and the Roundy Fusiliers, well, they're all metal figures from Crusader Miniatures. Okay, the defending Germans are all veteran, and they're made up of the 15th Panzer Grenadier Regiment, and it's made up of 3 rifle companies and supports. Now, these are all Warlord plastics using different kits. We've also got the vehicles. Panther 323 is a Warlord kit. The armoured car, the 259, that's a Warlord kit as well. The 234 is a Rubicon. This particular pack is a offensive miniatures. The Tiger is a Warlord miniatures, Tiger 121, and the 2 Panthers are Rubicon, and all the vehicles are crewed with Warlord figures. Right, so this game sees 2 infantry battalions from the 37th Infantry Brigade, the Roundy Fusiliers and the Duke of Gipton Regiment, supported by tanks from the 25th Lancers and Oakwood Rangers tank regiments. Now, the British objective is to attack St Martin Norre, which is this village that you can see here now. And this is part of, again, the fictitious opening operation of Operation Cheltenham. Now, the British objective is obviously they'll be advancing along this northern table edge, pushing south, and their objective is to capture the village, push the Germans from it, and hold until further units come to move through their positions and continue the thrust to try and flank the city of Caen. Now, on the northern edge of the table, if you imagine the table split in half down here, on the northern edge of the table where the British are advancing, all these buildings that you can see here are worth 1 point each. The church and all the buildings that you can see on the southern edge of the table are worth 2 points each. And victory will obviously go to the force who hold most of the buildings and have the majority of points. Obviously, the Germans will be setting up in the southern half of the table here, so initially we'll start with a points advantage, but the onus is then on the British to push through and push them out, and hopefully certainly hold as many buildings as possible, if not completely all of them, pushing the Germans out and thereby winning the game. Okay, the Germans defending the 1st Battalion of the 15th Panzer Grenadier Regiment, an armoured car company of the 12th Recce Battalion, elements of the 3rd Company of the 1st Battalion of the 30th Panzer Regiment. Now, support may be coming later from elements of the 2nd Company, 12th Panzer Regiment, and elements of the 1st Company of the 202nd Heavy Tank Battalion. Now, the Germans will be defending this edge of the table as the British push in. Any German reinforcements, there are 3 lanes on the southern side, and the reinforcements that come in from turn 3 onwards will enter on one of those 3 lanes. On a 1, 2, 3, it will enter on this lane here, as you can see to the left of the camera. On a 3, 4 in the centre, and a 5, 6 over on the far right there. Now, the 15th Grenadiers and the 30th Panzer and Recce Battalion units arrived during the previous evening. They've taken up positions again along this half of the table. I've not allowed them to deploy in the church, but as you'll see in a bit, the Germans are deployed very, very close. They have taken up positions on the south side. They're preparing it for defence. Reinforcements may come later. Again, they will come from turn 3 onwards, but the Germans' orders are quite clear. They must hold firm regardless and prevent the British from capturing this half of the table at the very least. The game's going to last 8 turns. We did say it was a big last bash. That's if the wife's patient lasts that long. With the first 4 turns equating in time from 7 AM to 12 PM, and the last 4 turns equating from 1 PM to 6 PM real time. Okay, so for deployment, the Germans are deploying on the southern half of the table, which is a line all the way down the table, and they can deploy on this half of the table. The Germans will deploy all their units to begin with, but they will be hidden from view. Right, what you see here are the German unit markers positioned on the table where the Germans will be deploying. But obviously when the game starts, nothing will be on the table. Everything will be noted on a map, which I shall show you in a minute. The unit markers are just little bits of card with a little badge that I've got. Made up name, number, and unit, and what have you. So what you can see here is as the game begins, we have the 1st Company of Infantry positioned behind the church. We have the half-track armoured car positioned here on ambush. The Panther 323 positioned here again on ambush. We have the light mortar. In the town hall, we have a sniper team, a medium machine gun, and the 2nd Company of Infantry within the town hall itself. The sniper is on the roof, as will be the mortar spotter. The medium machine gun is on the 2nd floor, and the 2nd Company of Infantry, again, is also deployed on the 2nd floor. All those units are on ambush. The rest of the Germans, we have a PaK-40 anti-tank gun on ambush. The medium mortar set up here, obviously waiting to be given orders. HQ Company, or HQ section with the captain, is positioned here. The 3rd Company of Infantry are again in the house. PaK-40 is positioned here on ambush, and the armoured car, 234 armoured car, number 12, is again positioned on the lane there, awaiting orders. Right, so all the German markers that you can see here that have already been given some orders and some haven't, when the game starts, these will be completely removed. The markers will go on the table that have got the ambush orders. The rest of the units that have not been given an order, their order die will go in the bag ready to be drawn. The British will be coming on the northern side of the table edge, advancing down into the village. All the German units will then be marked on this map. So it's truly hidden, so that the British player, when they come on, they won't know where the Germans are, and the units themselves won't be put on the table until obviously they either move or spring an ambush and fire. Right, the British advance from this side of the table, and they'll be coming on as soon as the first order die are drawn. The only difference is they will not know or be able to see where any of the German units are until the German units either move or they spring an ambush and the British come under fire. Right, so a quick look at the board and terrain features. I'll begin with the houses. Houses, buildings, obviously block line of sight. The houses that you can see here, the ones that have all the signs on them, there's the town hall and these here. These are Sarissa precision ones that I've got, and I've mounted them on PVC foam board. I've added extra wooden details, coffee stirrer sticks, some plastic card. I've made modelling compound to make the mounds of rubble that you can see there, again covered with small stones and sand. Windows I've made out of just clear plastic, matte varnished, and the signs that you can see on these buildings, these are downloaded from the Rapid Fire website, and they've been done by Chris Woofenden. They're brilliant signs, and again you can just print them off, stick them on some card, put them on the sides of your edges of your buildings or the fronts of your buildings, and they just really add to the feel of French buildings in 1940s France. Right, some of the other buildings that you can see on the board, the ones that we've got here, and the church as well. Now these are all scratch built by myself. They've been, I've made these using like extruded polystyrene sheets I used to get from B&Q, cut them to shape. I damaged them using a hot wire to cut them out. Then again, as with the Sarissa ones, I did detail using balsa, card, plastic card and what have you. The church covered in some just plastic card, and again inside all just made with cardboard, plastic card, balsa wood, and just detailed up. These have also been placed on PVC foam board card. It's very good stuff. It doesn't warp. You can cut it, you can sand it, you can bevel it, and everything sits on there quite nicely. I'm based in the UK, and I get mine from Simply Plastics. They come in sheets about 5mm thick, and like I said, you can cut it, sand it, doesn't warp. Makes a great basing material. Right, this board I've got set up here, it's an 8 foot by 4, and I've actually covered it with two of the Battle Fleece mats from Geek Villain, and both of these are the autumn one, which I think is a lovely colour green. Right, the roads. I often get loads of messages and comments asking how I do my roads. Essentially, it's carpet tiles that you buy in squares. This sort of material. I get these, the grey ones. I sometimes get them from B&M. I think they're about £2.99 for a 50cm square piece. Cut them into strips, paint them. I paint mine brown, dry brush them, and then you can cut them into any shape you want. Obviously, little corner bits to put bends in the road and what have you, T-junctions. But that is how I make the roads. They're very good. They're rubber backed. They don't warp. I think they've got a good feel to them. Right, bocage. Bocage counts as hard cover when you're against it. It is dense terrain, so it will block line of sight unless you're in base contact with it. The ones that you can see here, these are all scratch built by myself. Again, it's on a MDF basis that I cut long strips out of. I then use polystyrene, polyfiller, modelling compound, rubberized horsehair, sometimes stick in some woodland scenic tree skeletons, cover it in flock, and the job's a good one. Right, trees. All the trees that you can see on the table, they are just decorative. They're not going to block line of sight or give any cover. They're there just to make the table look a little bit better. The trees that I've got, some of them are scratch built, made by myself. Some of them are on woodland scenics tree skeletons, the ones that you can see here. Again, just covered in rubberized horsehair and flock. I put them on metal washers because it adds to a bit of weight. Some of the other ones that you can see are actually scratch built from using just twigs that I found when I'm out and about. Stick them on corkboard, similar thing, rubberized horsehair, different coloured flock, paint and spray, and overall, yeah, they look quite good. Haystacks. As with the trees, these haystacks are just here for decoration. They don't block line of sight or give any cover. The old tank adage, beware haystacks that move, well, not in this game. These are made from cut up egg boxes, stuck on metal washers, a little bit of modelling compound just to firm them up, covered in PVA and paint, and then I have a carpet mats that I cut up, the stuff that you wipe your feet on, cut them up, cut bits off of it, and then just stick them on, add them up, and you have little haystacks. These pieces of material you can see here, they're just the cheap sheets that I get from places like the Range for 50p. And again, when you stick them on the table, put a bit of flock around them, it breaks the board up and just gives the impression of fields that have either been ploughed or again hay fields where they've been just recently cut down. Right, the rubble that you can see, this will block line of sight in certain instances, and it does provide half cover. There's certainly in this game, we're classing it as the centre of the town with the collapsed buildings has made it impassable. So vehicles, including track vehicles and tanks, we're going to say, can't actually pass this centre part of town. The rubble pieces themselves have been made out of polystyrene, foam board, the usual modelling compound, painted, lots of rock stuck on, and PVA and sand. This other stuff here, it's actually just decorative wood chip that you can buy. I think I bought it from a garden centre. Stick it in a big bowl, spray it with loads of different colours, greys, whites, browns, and like sandy yellows. These are just cork pieces that, again, I bought, put in a bowl, sprayed them like a reddy colour just to add to debris, and then you just throw them down, and it just adds to the effect of the rubble on the table. Right, the walls do not block line of sight, but they will give hard cover if you're either up against it or if the walls are intervening between the figures firing at each other. These walls are made from cork strips that I get from a model railway shop. It's usually used on model railway displays for like sidings and stuff like that. Cut it into strips, stick it on the PVC foam board that I get, cover it in sand, bit of flock, bit of cardboard, spray and paint it, cut them in different lengths, and again, it's quite nice, quite cheap, quite easy to make yourself. You can stick old balsa wood on there for like gates and stuff, and just put a little bit of flock around them just to give them a nice effect on the table. Right, the liching that you can see on the table that I use to usually edge around the side of the roads or just put around the sides of fields, it counts as soft cover and doesn't block line of sight. So again, it will be soft cover if you're up against it, or obviously firing over and firing through. I buy mine in very big bags from Country Baskets. Again, in the UK, it's quite cheap. It's a lot cheaper than buying it in smaller. Certainly smaller packs. I think I pay about £10, and I do get a very big bag, and it goes a long way. Right, so we're all set. Let's begin turn 1 and the attack on St Martin Norre. The British call an orders group, and a plan of attack is agreed, which will see a bombardment of the village, quickly followed by the 1st Battalion, Duke of Gipton Regiment, attack the eastern end of the village, supported by C Squadron 25th Lancers. They will capture the church and grounds, then pushing on to the T-junction with the town hall. From turn 4 onwards, the Roundhay Fusiliers and Oakwood Rangers will be committed to either support gains made or press the attack to the western side of the village, clearing out all German positions, then holding until further orders. So the game begins, and the village is plastered with an opening bombardment from the British artillery. It causes quite a few pins on a number of the German units dug in and hidden, but significantly no casualties. First eye was British, and the recce carrier come on at the run, trying to reach the crossroads here. However, the half track sprung its ambush. It was on 2 pins, it passed its order test, went down to 1, opens fire with the light auto cannon, needing 4s. Normally it'd be a 3, but with the pin, it goes to 4. 4 required, and that's 2 hits. Side as well. Rolling to penetrate. Oh, yes, it does. And damage, the blue is a glancing hit, the red is the full hit. Okay, so the Bren carrier wasn't destroyed. Basically, both hits equated to a 1 on the damage table. So I'm going to view it as it stops where it is, it goes down and gets an extra pin rather than continuing its run order, which it would have done had it not been hit. Okay, the mortar team run on and set up in position while the spotter sights himself in the house. Right, the next dice was German, so the light mortar rallied its 2 pins off. The next 3 were British, and it saw A Company run on along the hedgerow. Sergeant Morley and his Sherman again run on at the side of the church, and Sergeant Francis advance on and try and take a shot at the armoured car. However, Lieutenant Bruckner in Panther 323 sprung his ambush to open fire on the Firefly, but failed his order because he had 2 pins from the bombardment and went down. So the Firefly now has a free shot at the armoured car. Firefly shoots, needing a 6, +1 for advancing and hard cover for the armoured car, needing a 6. And it's a miss. German die, and number 1 company passed its order test, lost its pin that it got from the opening bombardment, and advanced round the side of the church. And they are going to open fire with the Panzerfaust on the Sherman and the machine guns and rifles on the advancing British infantry. All right, the Panzerfaust is going to fire first, and it is point blank. It's a +1 for moving, but obviously, sorry, -1 for moving, but a +1 for the point blank. So needing a 3 to hit the Sherman. Oh, it's a hit. Does it penetrate? Oh, yes, it does. Right, rolling 2d6 because it was a massive penetration by the Panzerfaust. The Sherman's gone. That's a big loss for the British straight away. Right, resolving the small arms fire. 2 rifles needing 4s. There's 2 misses. Another 2 rifles at long range needing 5s. 1 hit. That's a pin on the British unit. The SMG's out of range, but the 2 light machine guns will open fire, only needing 4s. So that's 10 shots needing 4s. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hits on the British. 7 hits on the British. The regulars, so that's 4s. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 casualties on that unit. That's half. That's a morale test. The British need 8 or under to pass the morale test. Just. British die, and Lieutenant Ellen advances on in the Sherman and opens fire on the Germans in the church grounds. It opens fire with its hull machine gun and its main gun. The blue dice is the main 75mm, needing 6s. That's 1 hit with the medium machine gun. That's a pin on the unit. They're veterans, so needing a 5 to casualty. It could be exceptional. It's not. The next 2 dice were German. The medium mortar failed its rally test, but the armoured car passed. The British die, and the 2-inch mortar team advance onto the table and are going to try and fire lob around at the Germans, needing a 6. It's a miss. British and D Company advance on and open fire on the Germans in the church grounds. Right, 7 riflemen opening fire at long range. They do get +2 extra dice for the rapid fire rule. They're needing 7s because they've moved. It's long range and the Germans are in hard cover. 2 possible. No. And finally, 4 shots with the Bren, needing 6s. That's 1 hit, so that's another pin on the German unit at least. But no casualty because the veterans needing 5. Right, the next 2 dice were British. D Company ran into the bottom of the small building here on the ground floor, and the Piat team ran on up the road. The German sniper triggered his ambush, but failed his command test and went down. British die. B Company advance on, and the light machine gun is going to take some shots at the sniper on the roof, needing 7s. 4 shots. 1 possible. No. Okay, the last dice was German, and the HQ unit rallied its pins off, which brings us to the end of turn 1, which saw the British advancing on the church as per the battle plan, but they've taken some heavy casualties in doing so, and it's very, very chaotic, and turn 2 is going to be quite interesting. So the first die is German, and number 1 company hold their ground, pass their order test, lose a pin, and open fire on the British advancing, who go down. Riflemen needing 7s, 3 of them. It's 1 possible. Nope. And then there's going to be 10 shots. Light machine gun needing 6s. So that's 2 hits, so that's a pin on the British at least. And do they need to turn casualties for 4? That's 1 casualty. 2 casualties. British die, and Captain Sidebottom orders a snap to. He orders the light mortar to open fire, the medium mortar to open fire, both on the Germans in the churchyard. And he also orders A Company, if it passes its order test, to advance up to the wall and open fire on the Germans as well. Okay, medium mortar first, needing a 6. And that's a hit. And the 2-inch, the light mortar, this also needing a 5. And that's a hit. So 2 mortar strikes hit the German unit. We'll calculate those now. Okay, the light mortar with its 1-inch template can get 2 of the figures with its +1 for HE, needing 4s to cause casualties. And that's 1 kill. The medium mortar can get 4, and they only need 3 to, with their +2 to cause casualties. And that's another 3, so that's 4 casualties on the German unit in total. So the light mortar and medium mortar caused 5 casualties. With the pins calculated, it pushed the German unit up to 5 pins, and both mortars are now zeroed in for the next turn. All right, A Company passed its order test, advanced up to the wall, and are now firing at the Germans on the other side at point blank range. Right, the British open fire at point blank range, needing only 3s. So the SMG opens fire first. That's 1 hit. The light machine gun fires 4 times. That's 3 hits. And then finally the 2 riflemen, another 2 hits. 6 hits, needing 5s to wound. That's 5 casualties, 3 possible exceptional. Rolling the exceptionals again, needing 6s. No. So 5 casualties in total. The German unit is wiped out. Okay, it's a German die. And Panther 323 is going to try and fire again at the Firefly, but needs to pass its order test, needing an 8. Yes, it's passed. It opens fire, needing a 4. And it's hit. Panther's super heavy gun versus the defense of the Sherman. Does it damage? Oh, it does. Okay, rolling 2 dice for massive damage. A 1 and a 2. Okay, so the Firefly wasn't destroyed, but it's immobilised for the rest of the game. It's now got a down order. It's got 2 pins, but it did pass its turret jam, so at least its turret can still move. But it can't fire this turn. German die, and the sniper on the roof passes his order test, and this time goes to fire at the 2-inch mortar, the light mortar that's already been given an order die, to try and knock it out and remove a die from the British. He fires, but it's out of range. Right, the half track passes its order, removes its pin, and opens fire 2 rounds with its main light autocannon against the Bren carrier that's well within half range, just needing 3s. And that's 2 hits. Okay, it was actually forced to hit for the soft cover in the intervening for the Bren carrier here, but it still hit with 2 4s. Does it penetrate? 1 definitely does. Does it cause damage? Yep. Okay, with that damage and result, it's got a down order, it's up to 4 pins, it's on fire. It's a morale test. Do the crew stay and put it out, or do they abandon? They put it out. British and the Piat team run into the grounds of the church. British Dice and Lieutenant Elland pivots and advances 9 inches and is going to open fire on the Panther, but it's going to be in hard cover. Okay, the Sherman opens fire and needs a 6 to hit. No, it doesn't. Okay, British Die and B Company run into the house. British Die and C Company in the house go down. Right, German Die and the light mortar advanced from its original hiding position over the road and is going to try and lob around on the British Piat section, just needing a 6. And it's a miss. All the remaining dice were German, and the every unit rallied apart from the medium machine gun that failed and still went down and still got 1 pin. And that's the end of turn 2. Well, that's the end of turn 2. The British are making some gains with their attack on the church, but they are now coming under some heavy German fire and are taking casualties. We're now moving on to turn 3, where reinforcements can potentially start to come in. We'll have to see whether they pass their order test. And for the Germans, if they do, and they bring on reinforcements, whereabouts on the battlefield they arrive. Turn 3, and both sides are down to 11 order dice. So a lot more units from what they've got orders for. And the first order die out of the bag was German, and Panther 323 attempted to shoot at the Sherman, but it failed its order check and went down. That could be a disaster for them. German again, and this time the light mortar fires on the advancing Piat team, just needing a 5. It's a miss. It's a 4 next time. Right, British Dice and the Piat team advance. They're not going to hang around and have a mortar round land on them. They advance and they're going to fire at the half track, needing a 6. And it's a miss. German Die and the sniper opens fire on the Piat team, just needing a 3. It's a hit. 4 to wipe the team out. No, but a pin on the Piat team. Okay, it was a German Die. The Germans passed their order test, called for reinforcements, and it was Captain von Lieb in Tiger 121 rolled a 5 and entered on this end of the board. He's advanced on the road, up behind the half track. All the action is now centred around the church. German Die again, and the half track pivoted, advanced and pivoted again right up to the edge of the wall, and is going to open fire with its medium machine gun on the British Piat team at point blank range. Right, so that's 6 shots at point blank, needing 3s. The Piat team are destroyed, and the Brits lose yet another order die. British Die and Lieutenant Elland, with his view now blocked to the Panther, obscured by the half track. He now opens fire at the half track, needing a 5. It's a 3 plus 2 for the hard cover, with the half track obscured behind the wall. 5 to hit, and it's a miss. Having missed the half track, the Hull machine gun will open fire on the light mortar. It's over long range, 5 shots, needing 5s. And that's 1 hit, but not a kill. So 1 pin on the light mortar. British Die and the Firefly passes his order test, goes down to 1 pin and opens fire on the half track, needing a 6. And it's a miss. Right, British die, and Captain Sidebottom ordered a snap to. He ordered D Company, to run up to the church. They passed their order test and lost the pin. He ordered the light mortar to advance to the corner of the bocage, which brings it in range to fire at the German light mortar. And he also ordered the mortar team to open fire also on the German light mortar. The light mortar firing, needing a 6. That's a miss. And the medium mortar firing, needing a 6. And that's also a miss. But 5 next round for both of them. German die. Finally, the medium machine gun team pass its order test, lose its pin, and open fire at the light mortar advancing on the British. It's going to be 6 shots, needing 5s. The machine gun opens fire, and that's 5 hits. So that's another pin on the Piat team. 4s didn't become casualties. 1. But it's a morale test. And they pass, so 1 casualty and 1 pin on the Piat team. German die. And the Pak 40 opens fire from its concealed position against the Firefly. It's long range, and the Firefly is going to benefit from being concealed in hard cover. It's going to be a 6 to hit, needing a 6, and it's a miss. British and A Company run into the church. German die, and the mortar this time with the spotter on the roof. Spots, and the mortar fires on D Company, and it is just in range at 59 inches, a 6 to hit, needing a 6, and it's a miss, but 5 next turn. British dice and B Company in the house open fire on the German medium machine gun team on the 2nd floor of the town hall. It's just over 12 inches, so it's going to be long range for the rifles, but not for the light machine gun. The LMG fires first, needing 5s, and that's 2 hits. 5s, 6s to wound for the additional benefit of being in a building. And that's 1 wound. Is it exceptional? No. So that's 1 wound on the unit already and 1 pin. Rifle fire next. Right, 7 riflemen can fire at the Germans. They get an additional 2 dice for the British rapid fire rule, and they are going to require 6s to hit. And that's 3 hits. Can they convert these into casualties? Again, needing 6s for the additional 1 for hard cover. No, they don't. But it's 1 pin and 1 casualty on the German medium machine gun team. German die, and the 2nd Company that have been hiding in the ground floor of the town hall are now going to open fire on B Company in the building across the road. Okay, as with the British, it's a little over 12 inches away. So the riflemen will be firing at +1 for long range. The light machine guns won't. So the 2 German light machine guns open fire first. 10 shots, needing 3s, 4, 5s for hard cover. And that is 2 hits, 3 hits, 6 hits. So that's a pin on the unit and 6 hits. Okay, the riflemen firing, 5 of them, needing 6s. And that's none. Okay, 6 hits to convert to casualties. The British are regular, so they are save on a 4. However, they're in hard cover, so it's 5s to cause casualties. And that's 2 potentially critical hits. So 2 casualties, a pin, but no critical hits. The next 2 die were British, and amazingly, the Bren carrier rallied, passed its test, and lost all its pins. And C Company in the house just went down rather than exposing themselves by moving, given how clustered it is on this side of the table. The last 2 dice were German, and the HQ Company and number 3 Company both were given down orders. Well, that's the end of turn 3, and the fighting on the eastern end of the village around the church grounds and surrounding area is becoming very intense. German reinforcements are already arriving on the table. There's some sporadic fighting now breaking out in the centre of the town, but all the focus is around the church grounds. The British have lost a number of order die, so they're limited in the units that they can order, but they do need to start bringing reinforcements in from turn 4 with the Roundey Fusiliers and the Oakwood Rangers. Also, the Germans may also start to bring reinforcements on, although with the units that they've got, they're in a very strong position. The British are definitely up against it. On to turn 4. Turn 4, and the first die out the bag is German, and the half-track pivots, reverses down the side of the church, and is going to open fire on the Bren carrier with its light auto cannon. 2 rounds, needing 6. And that's a miss. German again, and Panther 323 is going to try and fire at the Firefly. It needs to pass its order test, and it does. So it removes the pin, only just removes the pin, and is going to fire at the Sherman, needing a 4. +1 for the soft cover. 4 to hit, and it's a miss. A British die, and the Firefly is going to return the favour. It's got to pass its order test first, and it does. Removes the pin, and is going to fire back at the Panther behind the bocage, counting as hard cover, needing a 5, and it's a miss. German, and the light mortar just runs out of harm's way and positions itself behind some hard cover behind the bocage. Yet another German die, and the mortar is going to continue to fire against the British behind the church, needing only a 5, and it's a hit. Okay, the British didn't go down, and the burst template can get up to 4 of them there. British irregular, 4 hits, anything but 1s, and that's 3 hits. Rolling the 2 exceptionals. Yes, so the Bren carrier, the light machine gunner will go as a casualty. Rolling for pins, and that's 2 pins as well. So the 3 casualties, including the LMG, avoids a morale test for the British unit, but it's now on 2 pins, and the mortar can hit on anything but 1s in the following turns. British and Lieutenant Elland pivots and reverses, getting away from the line of fire of the Panther, and instead is going to fire his HE, the main 75mm gun, at the Germans on the rooftop in the building. The Germans don't go down. It's by reversing, it's just pushed it to long range, so it's going to be a 4 for moving and a 1 for long range, so it's 5 to hit the building. The Sherman fires, and it's a miss. German, and the Pack 40 opens fire again at the Firefly. Again, long range hard cover, needing a 6. It's a miss. German die, and the Tiger issues a run order, driving hell for leather along the road to the T-junction where it comes to a stop. British die, and the 3-inch mortar is going to try and drop a smoke round right in front of the Panther, needing a 6. And it's missed, but a 5 next turn. Okay, rolling for the smoke deviation using a 2d6 and the direction die. 6 inches in that direction is where the smoke lands. The smoke lands in the field to the side of the Panther and behind the light mortar team. Okay, the British rolling for reinforcements to bring on a Sherman Firefly. 9 under. No, the Firefly goes down. Germans this time, and they're 2 rolling for reinforcements for an off-table Panther to come on, needing a 10 and under. It comes on. Where does it come on? In the middle, 0.3. Okay, Panther 236 advances straight down the road to the town centre and opens fire with its main gun at the British inside in the building, and its hull machine gun as well. The British do go down. Okay, the main gun fires first, needing a 4. Oh, that's a miss. That's a let off for the British. Okay, so the hull mounted medium machine gun fires. It's going to be needing 7s. That's 1 possible. It does hit. So it's another pin on the unit. Does it cause a casualty? It's going to be a fire for the height. Oh, it is. It's a casualty as well. Possibly exceptional. No. So 1 casualty and 1 pin on the unit. German and the sniper is going to fire at the light mortarman on his own in the field, needing 3. And that's a hit. Force to casualty. No. So another pin on the light mortar. The British try and bring on another Sherman. Does it pass its order test? No! Another Sherman goes down. British again, and they try and bring on another Sherman. Surely this one must pass its order test. It does. The Sherman's coming on. Finally, a Sherman from the Oakwood Rangers arrives on the battlefield and is going to fire at the Panther in the town square. The Sherman fires, needing a 5. It's advanced, and there is some intervening soft cover, which will give it a +1. We're not going to count the rubble, so it will be a 5 to hit, and it misses. British die, and the Bren carrier pivots and advances off the main road, opening up clear lines of sight in the next turn. Okay, the next 2 dice were German, and the Pak 40 tank gun that's still hidden went onto ambush, and the medium machine gun team inside the town hall also went onto ambush. Okay, British die, and D Company will try and pass its order test and run into the church. Needing a 7 or under. They've passed. So they lose a pin and run into the church to join A Company. And we're going to say that the church is big enough for the both companies to get in. British die, and the artillery observer is going to try and pass his order test and come on. Yes, he does. The artillery observer team run on and enter the building. Okay, the last dice is German, and the number 2 company inside the town hall just go down. Well, that's the end of turn 4, and things are not going well for the British. The initial plan of advancing and capturing the church to secure a good base to then move into the rest of the town has failed, and they now find themselves completely bottled up in this corner of the battlefield with the German heavy armour and reinforcements coming on. It's not looking good for the British. It's a very tall ask, particularly with the reinforcements not coming on. On to turn 5. This is a tough one. Right, the start of turn 5, this is a big one. The smoke stays where it is, and the first dice out of the bag was British. And the Firefly is going to have a shot at the Tiger. How crucial was passing that turret jam test earlier on. Firefly opens fire. The British need some luck here. It's a 3. It hits. Okay, the Tiger is a 10, but it's a side shot. Does the Firefly penetrate? Oh, it does. Rolling 2d6 for the massive damage. Oh, the Tiger's gone. That was a gamble by the Tiger to try and take up a position on the crossroads, but the Firefly just beat it in getting its shot in first. German die, and it's the turn of the Panther to try and knock out the Firefly, needing a 4. It's a hit. Does the Panther penetrate? No. German and Panther 236 now opens fire on the Sherman, needing a 4 for the intervening soft cover. It's a miss. Another German die, and the Pak 40 again opens fire on the Firefly, needing a 6. And it's a hit. Does it penetrate? Yes, it does. Rolling for damage. Oh. Okay, so the Firefly has an additional pin. It's on fire. Can the crew pass its order test and put it out? It does get the bonus from the nearby captain. Yes, they do, so they stay and put the fire out. Is its turret jammed? Yes, it is. So the Firefly now has 3 pins, is immobilised, and now its turret's jammed as well. British die, and the Sherman opens fire on the Panther in the centre of the village. This really is turning into a tank-on-tank action. Needing a 4. It's a hit. Right, so the front of the Panther is 10. The armour piercing of the Sherman is 5. So the Sherman needs a 5 to glance, a 6 to penetrate. Oh, no, it doesn't. The German die, and the mortar is going to try and land around on top of the Bren carrier. Needing a 6. Missed. At 5 next turn. Okay, the Germans this time calling for another Panther reinforcement. Does it come on? Yes, it does. Where does it come on? 2. Oh, it's in the left-hand corner of the village on the western side. Okay, Lieutenant Schneider in Panther 215 comes on from the western end of the village, pivots and advances cross-country towards the centre of the town. German yet again, and the sniper fires once more at the light mortarman, needing a 3. It's a hit. Does he convert that to a casualty? No, so another pin on the light mortar. German and number 2 company are going to open fire on the British in the house, who don't go down. Okay, 10 shots with the 2 light machine guns, needing 5s. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. 5 rifles, needing 6. Another 3 hits. 7 hits, needing 5s to convert to casualties. That's 1, 2, 2 potential critical hit. No, so 2 casualties and a pin on that unit. Okay, B company in the house are now up to 3 pins. German die, and Captain Mons reveals himself by running into the wine shop. Right, the British are going to try and bring on a Firefly. Does it pass its order test? Yes. The Firefly advances on, shoots, needs a 5, advanced and intervening soft cover. It's missed. British die, and the artillery observer calls in a strike for the next turn, centred in the middle of the road. German and the half-track reverses away from the potential incoming artillery strike. German die, and number 3 company still hidden, go on ambush. The British mortar fires again, trying to drop smoke in front of the Panther, needing a 5. It does. The Pack 40 still hidden, goes on ambush. British die, and the Bren carrier pivots and advances, getting away from the German mortar that was ranging in. British and C Company run from one house to another, occupying the ground floor. British and Lieutenant Elland advances, and he's going to take a shot at the Panther in the middle of the village. It's going to be a 6. 6 to hit. Oh, just missed. Final die is British, and the Piat team of the Roundy Fusiliers attempt to come on. No, they don't. They go down. Well, that's the end of turn 5. A little bit of better luck for the British, but the action again is all centred around the church and the town hall. On to turn 6. Okay, at the start of turn 6, and we'll first of all roll for the smoke, and it stays where it is. Rolling for the artillery. This could be crucial. It comes in. How large is the target area? It's D6 plus 6 inch. Oh, that's not bad. 10 inches. Okay, so with 10 inches from the aiming point where the artillery came in, it is just the Panther and the light mortar that are effective. Rolling for the Panther. Nope, that's going to be D3 pins. So that's 3 pins on the Panther. Rolling for the light mortar. No, so it's going to be pins. And it's just going to be 1 pin on the light mortar. Right, the first die was British, and the Firefly opens fire on the Panther in the centre of the village, needing a 4. It's a hit. Does it penetrate? No, it doesn't. Another British die. And Lieutenant Willis opens fire on the Panther, now up to 2 pins in the centre of the village, needing a 4. It's a hit. Does it penetrate? 5 or a 6? No, but another pin on the Panther. Yet another British die. And the Shermans are really gunning for the Panther in the middle of the village. Lieutenant Elland opens fire. Needs a 6. No, it's a miss. German die. And Panther 232 rallied and lost all its pins. Can the British bring on their remaining Sherman? Yes, finally. Sergeant Kane advances up the road to take a flank shot at the Panther as it crosses the field. He needs a 6 to hit. No, it's a miss. German die, and the anti-tank gun that was hidden now opens fire on the Sherman as it comes up the road. He just needs a 4 to hit for the intervening soft cover. It's a hit. 3 to glance, 4 plus to penetrate. Oh, it does. That's an AP of 12 against a defence of 9. Massive damage. It's blown. The Sherman bursts into flames. And at this point, I think the attack will be called off. The Germans are just too strong, and the village cannot be taken in 8 turns. Okay, I hope you enjoyed it. It was a tough nut for the British to crack. They gave it a good go, had a few successes, but ultimately the German force was way too strong. I don't think they were ever going to get through the capture the town in 8 turns. They had a few lucky rolls. It was enjoyable. I hope you've liked the video. I hope you've maybe taken some ideas, like what you see. That's the whole reason why I do these, really, just to how I make things, how I put things on, maybe give people some ideas, some inspiration. That's purely why I do it, and for the love of obviously recreating and wargaming World War II. The new version 3 rules are out soon. Looking forward to getting my hands on them, and again, hopefully doing some battle reports, probably in after October, on a smaller scale. But thank you for watching, and hopefully you'll tune in again. Bye bye.